This morning somebody sent me a story from Durham, North Carolina. We actually do a lot of stories on Durham. Lots of episodes of black mob violence, black on white crime, blacks' attack on police officers. When I saw this one, I thought, okay, you know what, it's kind of a little bit on the unusual side. Maybe I won't do something on it now. Maybe I'll just wait a day or so, collect it with some others, and do the kitchen sink routine on it. Then I saw the story that was right next to it. And I ask you to see if these two stories are connected in any way.
We had folks calling our communications center. We were telling them to stay inside, and anybody that we saw, we were asking them to stay inside the apartment.
Chopper 11 HD arrived just after cops say the suspects spotted the Apex police cruiser behind them and hopped out of their car, dashing into the third-floor unit of the West Haven apartments, locking themselves inside. It quickly turned into a standoff, cops calling them armed and dangerous.
We had a box of ammunition in the car, so we treated that as they had a handgun. Obviously, they were shooting the suspects.
Cops say it was 22-year-old Shelton Amerson and 17-year-old Marcus Green barricaded inside the apartment of one of the suspects' girlfriend. Raleigh police had been searching for the pair since last night, wanted in connection to a shooting on North Raleigh Boulevard that left a man shot and wounded. Less than 24 hours later, Amerson and Green were holed up here in Apex.
We saw the SWAT come in and dogs and cops with rifles.
As frightened moms, dads, and kids were ordered to stay indoors.
That wasn't even close to the worst story in Raleigh, Durham that day.
This morning, the alleged mastermind behind the kidnapping of a Wake Forest man made an appearance in federal court. Kelvin Melton is accused of orchestrating the kidnapping of Frank Jansen from the Butner prison. Ed Crump is outside the federal courthouse in Raleigh with details on this morning's hearing. Ed?
Amber, you know, cameras are not allowed inside this building, but I was in this very small courtroom and can tell you that the feds consider Kelvin Melton very dangerous. He was watched closely in court by 8 armed U.S. Marshals. Now, Melton's dreadlocks are now much longer than they were in this picture. They were wrapped around the top of his head this morning, looking like a turban. He's accused of using a cell phone in state prison to direct associates to come to this Wake Forest house where the homeowner was kidnapped. Frank Jansen is the father of the Wake County prosecutor who put Melton in prison for life without parole. According to testimony in Melton's detention hearing, the kidnappers planned to kill Jansen the night he was rescued by the FBI from an Atlanta apartment. Federal prosecutors argued Melton shouldn't be sent back to the same state prison where he orchestrated the alleged crime with a contraband cell phone. A member of the FBI task force testified that the motive for the kidnapping was to get Melton released or have his sentence reduced. In the end, the judge ruled that custody of Melton should be turned over to federal authorities.
Back in the 1920s and even the 1930s, criminals in this country had to make a really big decision. I mean, they were getting rich selling all this bootleg whiskey, but they were getting arrested too. And they really had to make a decision whether they were going to declare war not just on their opponents, but also on the cops. So, you know, lots of cops were paid off, but some cops weren't susceptible to that. So they really had to decide, were they going to start shooting cops, killing cops, attacking cops? The answer was almost always no, because when that happened, they know the cops were going to declare war on them and take everything, just knock all the pieces off the playing board. In this country, we see there's been a different decision made by black criminals and black criminality. The cops are not safe. The prosecutors are not safe. Now they're being targeted regularly. This is kind of a dramatic example of this. But this is a guy that organized the kidnapping, and I think they were going to murder the guy. Murder of a prosecutor. They just screwed it all up, and they got the prosecutor's father instead. That's a whole different ball game. A game you can find the rules in that scintillating bestseller. Don't make the black kids angry.